How you doing on this lovely day for the podcast of the month of Awareness and Heritage Month of July? July. And today we're having an episode talking about what is depression and am I experiencing it? And for today's episode, Self-Care Check Podcast, we always like to start off with a thunderous, do you care about your self-care? Yes. And next to me is my lovely guest and upcoming host for the Self-Care Check Podcast, Amy Heddinger.
Hi, how are you guys? I'm Amy Heddinger.
What's all that?
Everyone, please turn your phones off or put them on silent.
Yes, Amy. Depression. You know, some things can make me depressed. It can throw me off, and I'm pretty sure it can throw even you off at times. You know, even if a phone just randomly goes off as well, it can sometimes throw you off. But you have to stay focused. Do you think that's a hard thing to do in depression? Being focused?
Sure it is. When you're depressed, you can't really focus on much. Sometimes you can't even eat. You can't get out of bed. You really don't want to talk, in my experience.
You think could give us a little more?
Well, depression can come in all forms. Some people, they just want to sleep the day away. Some people cry. Some people won't eat.
Sometimes I do.
Some people yell.
It brings me back. Like I'll be stuck there, and sometimes I don't even want to get out, let alone out of the bed, as you said. But sometimes you just got to get out of yourself in that, right?
Absolutely, you do. But you have to turn to your higher power for the help, because no one person is going to help you except for yourself and your higher power.
So are you basically saying I need a group, a family, a system?
You need a network, yes, because it is a disease.
You hear that, everybody? It's a disease, so you should take it seriously. Never allow yourself to just sit in yourself and believe that you're okay or that it'll just solve itself out. Reach out to somebody. Turn to somebody. Turn to that good basic instructions before leaving Earth. It'll turn things around, definitely. I know it has for you.
Sure it has. I've been depressed many times, and in the beginning I never really recognized depression. I always thought it was like a lack of strength, in my opinion. But depression is a serious topic that people don't really take too much concern on, but it exists. It
exists
in real life.
It even turns into a form of anxiety, and I know that for myself. I sometimes suffer from anxiety randomly at times, and when I do turn towards my higher power, as well as my family that is immediate around me, because that's not something I can handle on my own at times. And it's just because another form of depression, just a mental form of it. So you don't mind if we jump into the first question for you and then the audience?
Sure.
Okay. Have you ever experienced any stage of depression, and explain? As far as I wish we had one of those papers. It's right here. Boom. So let's read it together. The many different stages that people have gone through in depression: changes of appetite or weight, sleeping too much, as we said earlier, sleeping too much or too little, decrease in energy or increase in fatigue, increase of purposeless physical activities or slowed movement of speech, feelings of low self-worth, hopelessness, or worthlessness, thoughts of dying or excessive guilt. I would still say that's anxiety. That's a form of anxiety. Or poor concentration.
Well, excessive guilt is a normal feeling when you're depressed. You're always going to go and blame yourself. That's a form of depression.
So it really wouldn't matter exactly. It could be like, oh, I didn't tell my mom that I did this, or I didn't tell my dad, stuff like that.
Well, Are you going on that for depression, or are you going on the fact that you're depressed over an ex-girlfriend, a loss of a job?
I would say pretty much all of that. But let's see what the audience think. I have to say.
Well, this is Dr. Moody. I want to thank EZ and Amy for bringing up this discussion and just for some of your transparency. And I think there is a big difference between clinical depression and just what we call the blues. Going through trauma or experiencing post-traumatic stress. Some of them are clinical and require medication and therapy. But then there are some things that we just experience that depress us. Some of our life experiences as African Americans, as women, as minorities, we experience different levels of depression. You know, not having no money can depress you. Come on, somebody. Stop it! and how we deal with it. We always want to. One of the things as therapists we always try to look at easy is trying to help folks recapture their baseline. You know, what is your baseline? What is your normal flow? And so we had a conversation with somebody today, and they said they was a little. What was your words? What was your words?
What?
This morning, when I asked you about something, you said you was not under the weather, but what did you say? And I tried to get Amy to encourage.
Lack of motivation.
Lack of motivation. So lack of motivation. Too many days that is looking like depression, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we all experience it, but I don't think it's clinical depression. You know what I'm saying? And so there are different things that just kind of like take your motivation away. And I know growing up, I used to overeat. Yes. I was telling Ronald last night we was fasting, and we ended it at 6 o'clock. So I was gonna go the rest of the night, and I said, "We're gonna have me some popcorn." I ate everything in that refrigerator.
Right.
So yeah, thanks for letting me share.
Is there anyone else?
Come on, y'all, help them out.
I want to say something. Another form of depression. Another form of depression is when people just lay around, don't take no showers, don't do their hair, just lay around all the time, don't clean up or nothing, just constantly lay there and feel sorry for themselves. That's a form of depression too.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
They just completely gave up.
One of the things that stand out to me as far as depression, use a certain prescription or recreational drug. When I used to isolate myself, I used to use drugs. It kind of, kept me, isolated in my own circumference, even when I was depressed, There was many days I'll be depressed in the streets for the simple fact all the different personalities I was dealing with.
Yeah.
So that that would make me medicate myself as well. And that's all I could identify with this depression thing.
Thank you.
William, you shared that using certain prescription or recreational drugs helped you with your depression, correct? Or do you think that put you more in a deeper depression?
No, because at the moment it stimulated me. So I was no longer depressed, I was stimulated. It's two different.
And I could identify with that answer. I think it stimulated me. It's temporary as it was.
So it was.
And of course we found out later that the dopamine receptors in the brain were being heightened and releasing those endorphins that gave me a sense of well-being. But with my continued use, I overstimulated those dopamine receptors where they no longer could release those endorphins anymore.
Yes.
Because they were overstimulated. And now I had reached a place of anhedonia where they said the things that used to give me pleasure, I no longer was experiencing pleasure in doing those things. So yes, Amy, eventually it caught up with me. And so that's when I hit rock bottom.
And everyone's rock bottom is different.
Yeah, sometimes, yes. I like to piggyback off of both of those. With the use of drugs, you know, I got depressed after all the drugs was gone, you know, because I wanted to get more, and I was sad that I went home and deal with my parents. You know, I was depressed like that, man. All the dope gone, my money gone. Oh, and I wasn't home for 4 or 5 days. Old lady looking for me, man, and turned the phone off. That's a depressing state.
Yes, it is.
You know, so I can identify with, you know,
That's a book.
the use of drugs and identification of depression. So yeah.
He said the whole thing. The whole story.
Thanks for letting me share.
Thanks for sharing.
Thomas. As we see, Amy and viewers, the depression can take a person on a voyage, journey, whatever it is that is set that you're choosing to indulge on or allow yourself to dwell in within depression. Because depression can affect all aspects of life, including relationships, work, school. It's different from regular mood changes and feelings about everyday life, as we just heard. And we're going to jump into question 2.
And let's let Amy ask that second question. Let's give her some work.
What did you get out of depression? Did you use meditation, medicine, or therapy? How did you get out of it?
I think I'll start them off with that one. For me, I used both meditation and therapy. That was meditation. I heard what was said. That was my meditation and therapy. And my meditation and therapy came together, and it actually brought me out of my anxieties. When I was having anxiety attacks, seeing a therapist actually broadened my understanding of what was the difference of reality and what was actually really happening with me. And the meditational part, it actually kept me calm and kept my mind from slipping into that state. So both helped me, and both are still working to this day. Because as we said earlier, I have a focus group. I'm in a well-nourished, God-filled environment at home and here in Tier 1. So to the audience.
So what about you, Amy?
Oh yeah, what about you, Amy?
What about me? I used probably therapy and medicine to get me out of my depression. And therapy was better than the medicine because I got addicted to that also. So that put me in a deeper depression for, afterwards. But therapy really helped. Talking to someone, explaining to a neutral party, someone that didn't know me, couldn't have any I couldn't sway them. They weren't my friends. They weren't my family. They didn't know me. It was a clean slate. I could tell them anything without being judged. So that helped me. But the medicine did not. The medicine only led into more problems.
To the audience.
So I think when I think of this question of how did I come out of depression, it makes me think back what really depressed me. We've got a couple of things on here that are mama's boy. And when my mom passed, it was just really, my whole world was really shattered. And it was just a hard experience. And divorce. Divorce is also like a death. That's for the sucker still living. See how I was triggered just there? But how I got out of them, I really used a lot of therapy and spirituality. And it wasn't like I had a therapist. I just, as a therapist myself, I knew how to use conversations with everybody to just talk about it. And people need some feedback. Sometimes the feedback would be good, sometimes it was garbage, but it didn't matter. I was still able to express what I was going through. And I went through my divorce here at Tier 1. And so I used that intimacy and that identity to rediscover or for self-discovery. And so that's why I can push it, because it works for me. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you for sharing that to me.
Is there anyone else?
And I know Ronald experienced death, and Thomas is experiencing death right now. Tyrone experienced his twin brother and his sister in a short period of time.
We'll take those.
Y'all talk about it.
My name is Ronald Joseph. Like Dr. Moody said, bereavement and illness, I say because I first lost my sister, had a heart attack. She was ill with a dialysis. And after that, my brother OD'd out in the streets. And soon after that, I see my wife, my late great wife, pass away in front of my eyes at the hospital. And now, you know, just recently my nephew got killed. But through it all, I surrounded myself with good people. You have to surround yourself with positive people. Well, I'm speaking for myself, but that's what I did because, you know, I had a praying father and a mother. And now, I thank God that my wife Angela introduced me to Tier 1 and Dr. Moody. It just makes me feel good when you have that support system around you and in your life. I always say this, I have people in my life here for a reason, not for a season.
Amen.
Absolutely.
My name is Tyrone. I don't know, like bereavement. You know, I went through my father, mother's, 2 brothers, 2 girlfriends, and my last one was my twin brother and my sister a week apart. I'm just thankful I went through that experience because it had helped me grow. Each one took a different turn on my life, but when my dad died, it took the wrong turn. After that, I started getting myself back together. And then when my mom passed, because I took care of my mom, she had cancer. And I was able to be stable. I say stable as far as I was taking care of her. And that's all she wanted was for me to take care of her. Out of 3 brothers and 2 sisters, she didn't want nobody but me. So, and the other part I have to put in there, I relied on my higher power through it all. And I'm thankful that I didn't get depressed. Every man can get depressed at any time just because of the way that we live. But through some things that I've been through in life, and my experience working with mental health people, my first job was, I was an orderly for 7 years. So I was learning about some things. So I'm saying all that to say, through my experience in life, it helped me learn some things, helped me get through some things, helped me learn how to handle things better. I'm not saying I didn't have no feelings, but I'm thankful for where he has brought me from and being able to get through, because with the ones that I told you I passed away first, I don't know how I would have really took it with my twin brother and my sister passing. They was my both best friends at the same time, sister and brother, and it was a week apart. And all I could put it is God has brought me through all those other ones to be able to handle those two, because my twin brother for 66 years, having him there, you know, is one thing, and then the other is the missing of both of them. So all I could contribute myself to is thanking a higher power for giving me strength, courage, and wisdom to be able to put together so I could be me. My story is, I just want to thank you, Lord, for letting me be myself again.
Yeah.
Yes, bereavement. Wow. I'm currently going through a bereavement stage, you know, but depression, I have, you know, my living situation, I had to try to use coping skills to get away from being depressed in this situation, you know. Here at Tier 1 is light, it's giving me light, you know, to be not so depressed, you know. Its environment itself is a friendly, loving environment, which entails greatness, man, and overjoy. So depression, I don't deal with depression of it now, you know, I go back in my current living situation and I can sit to myself and I don't be depressed because it's like a controlled environment. And depression is something that you got to be very mindful, but you got to have some coping skills, you know. My niece is soon to be going home, you know, with the Lord. Thank God she's saved, you know.
So what are your coping mechanisms?
I pray to God often, you know. I just ask you to see me through this, man. Let me contain myself instead of getting in situations and let my mind get in the way of it. You know, I get into thinking crazy, you know, and, you know, want to just say F it, you know. I'm taking it with a grain of sand, man. You know, I'm just letting God handle this. He driving it. So I'm just sit back and enjoy the ride and see her on home to her glory. Amen.
Amen. I believe that God uses these for opportunity for us to, as we've channeled those waters, and God bring us through them, we're able to use those as an opportunity to share to others just the goodness of God, and to be a light to other folks that are having similar experiences, right?
Well, I just want to say that depression is a word that we all tiptoe around, in my opinion. But as we all seen here today, we've all experienced it one way or another. So it should be a topic that is discussed openly, and everyone should understand about depression.
Yes, definitely. In any event, we're gonna start this question off here in the room first before it goes out into the audience, finishing off the podcast. In an event of a family member or of a friend that is in a depressive state, what steps would you take to call a crisis unit, or sit there with them and talk it out, etc.? For me, I will always sit down and talk. I will always want to hear what you have to say. I will always want to see you let it out and release. And I know that if I'm not enough, I'm going to sit here with you and call the crisis unit and never leave your side. Because everybody needs someone by their side in their time of need. Rather we know the measure of it or not. Be there as you would want somebody else to be there. So do you care about yourself, kid? Yeah.